Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. I got a couple of cheeky friends. They're getting started already this morning, attacking each other. We didn't even start the show yet. Their names are Willie Walls and the great Swame Odell Blocker. Willie Walls, glad you can make it this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad I could make it too. Thank you. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Swami, you ready to go? You don't have the fatigue on.
Rockabye Willie in the treetop. Ready to go, Doc.
All right. I can imagine the snoring going on in that room. All right. Let's get it going. Let's get it started. Dallas and Carolina, guys. Dak Prescott won people a boatload of money. Dak, Cooks, Lamb, you're my rich friend right now. This week, do you go back there or do you look at Pollard? Willie, what are you doing in this game?
Man, just call me a dum-dum. I am going back to Pollard. I am. I'm going to have him in at least 90% of my lineups. Forget it, because, he is the only guy. He's got the only one that's got more carries inside the 10-yard line than him is Josh Jacobs. He's got 22. He's got 21. 15 months, 19 months pregnant. He's the most pregnant person I've ever seen in my life. He's got a break. That's where Carolina, that's the weakness. The run game. People run against him. Don't be selfish, Dak. You got your money last week. Let me get my money this week, Mr. Prescott. Let me get a touchdown. I got Pollard going for at least 2 tutties, over 100 yards. It's the Pollard game today. Go with Pollard.
Is it a Pollard game, Swami?
Doc, I'm not as confident as my friend over there. They just haven't, shown that they're going to commit to him in the red zone. It seems like when they get down there, they're using him as a decoy, right? He may get it a few times, but I think that's just setting up the play to go to Ferguson or play to go to one of these other targets on outside. And so until they commit to him a little bit more, I just feel like we got some guys in better spots this week, and I think we're going to get to it. Do I think you can go back to Dak? I think if what we saw last week, if we talked about the potential where even in games where it doesn't shoot out and it's not back and forth, that they're going to put up those kind of numbers, then I think the answer is yes. So we got to look at him. We got to look at CeeDee Lamb this week. And if you did a stack like that, I wouldn't be mad then and only then if you added in Mr. Pollard, because it makes sense from a stack perspective, and I'm talking full stack. But other than that, I would not be putting Mr. Pollard in as many lineups as my good friend over there.
I kind of agree.
I'm doing it because you feel the way you feel. I think everyone is going to feel the same way. That's why I'm going back to him.
I'm with Willie. I would say if I have 10 lineups, I put Pollard in 7 because I feel like, just like Willie said about you, we're all annoyed with him. My one concern, Rico Dowdle has more juice. Did you see him run last week? He looked faster than Pollard. And that worries me because I think Pollard's going to get the carries. But last year, Pollard looked like he was shot out of a cannon. And this year, he looks like he's shot. That's not good.
But I will say this. If this rascal does me dirty this week, you better believe you could call the military. That's a burial for him. I am done. So this is it. But I'm just telling you, I just think because everybody feels this way, this shows me that I got to go back to this guy, because when he breaks this damn break and then he get 2 times, I'm just telling you, because I saw the game last week. He was at the 1-yard line. Dak was a selfish rascal. He made a good run. No, I'm going to do a play action and go to what's the name is. Oh, we're going to give it to Lamb on a reverse. Everything that could go wrong in the end zone can go wrong. I'm just telling you, it's time.
I'm with you. All right, let's get to Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Hide the wife and children. This game could get ugly, but there's one guy, Swami. I think you and I both may be in on him, and Alicia's in on him. His name is Jerome Ford. He's getting the football a bunch. Can we pivot and use Ford instead of Singletary because they're right there around the same price?
Yeah, I think Ford's in a good spot this week. Obviously, you're just concerned about their offense overall, how sometimes they kind of slow down when they don't have, I guess some contributions from the passing game. But we know they're going to lean on the backs. We know that he's going to at least get, 15, 17 touches minimum. So, and if he can go over there and get in the end zone, it's some risk there. I would say because of price, I might give him an edge over somebody like Pollard. And definitely from a leverage, or I would say just from a maybe a contrarian, get off a Singletary kind of way, I would give him an edge there as well. So there's a lot of reasons I think to like Ford this week.
Willie, do you like this game? Do you like Ford, Amari Cooper, Pickens? Because Cleveland plays a lot of man defense. Any thoughts?
Good luck with the quarterback. Good luck. I know he can run. He can run. And you got Mr. Hunt there. So I mean, no, thank you. I think I'll pass. I'd rather play Jalen Warren on the other side of this game than if I'm going to go there. So I got some other people I want to play. But I don't understand about Mr. I get it, but I'm not going to him.
All right, let's turn to Chicago and Detroit. This game got way more interesting. Justin Fields is back. Khalil Herbert is back. This game I think everybody's looking at Houston. So, last week, guys, if you remember, people were on, I can't remember what the game was, but they were overlooking the Chargers and Lions. And that game exploded. That was the game you needed. This week, I feel like people are overlooking the Bears and Lions. You got Justin Fields, you got DJ Moore, you got Cole Kmet, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Goff, David Montgomery. Willie, this game is chock full of fantasy goodness. What are you doing here?
Mr. Fields in play. What do Detroit, what do they struggle with defensively? Running quarterbacks. And listen, before he left, he was getting the juices going again. Now, the thing that's interesting about this whole thing, would you believe it if I tell you that, what team has not allowed a receiver to go over 65 yards since week 2?
Bears.
The Chicago Bears. I mean, their weakness is the tight ends, going against the tight ends. The weakness is the running backs out the backfield. So just don't get your stacks and think it's going to be Amon St. Brown. Laporta, he disappointed last week. He's in play. Gibbs, the dude is in play. The running back, and that would be something different than everybody, like you say, going to the chalk guy in Houston. But I'm just telling you, this game is very interesting. I mean, man, I tell you, this game I do like, but I will like it for different reasons, going to different people. Like I said, because I'm just telling you, I'm just looking at Chicago, man. They're stingy against the run. This is just a surprising thing about it. They're stingy against the run, and the receivers do not go nuts against them, and they're gonna get some good receivers. So it's just but Fields, I just as long as that thumb is okay that he had, I'm gonna tell you something. He's in play. He eats up the Lions. He eats up the Lions. So I like Fields a lot in this game, man. And I know Mr. Moore is happy that he's back in town. He's happy. He's back in town.
Swami, Willie brings up an interesting point. I could see Gibbs getting 60 yards. I can see Montgomery getting 60 yards. I can see St. Brown getting 70 yards. I can see Laporta getting 60. I can see a lot of guys getting, imagine a pizza. Everybody's getting one slice. Nobody's getting the whole pie. Can we win a tournament if everybody's getting a slice of pizza?
It just depends maybe on who's getting the pepperonis, and I'm talking about the touchdowns. And so if you know, I, it's two things I disagree with Willie with sometimes, or most times. One of them is this thing where if a guy was awful the week before, that some kind of way, he's going to fix it the next week. I think that's true sometimes for some people in some situations, mostly when they had a great matchup. For whatever reason, they didn't connect. And then you can go back to them if they have a great matchup the following week, but not just arbitrarily, no matter who they're playing. And the second thing is that in these situations where teams like the Bears, because they got a random stat where nobody went over 60 or 65 yards since week 2, it doesn't mean that their defense is any good. It just meant that teams were able to beat them in other ways. And so I think the Lions have a number of ways to beat the Bears, and I think that they can beat the Bears in a number of ways. So I think that does put Mr. St. Brown in play. I think it does put Mr. Gibbs in play, or Mr. Montgomery. I think Laporta's in play, because we know that is going to be some back and forth in this game, especially if Fields comes back and he's even a little bit sharp. This game is going to be fun to watch, and it's definitely going to have some fantasy goodness.
But I will say this, though. I kind of with Doc a little bit, you might just get a little bit of everything and not enough to be able, because the thing about it, that's the thing that you like about Houston. They got concentrated targets that you're going to.
But if the game has some pace, and say you like DJ Moore's price for sure this week, right? He could still have 10 or 12 targets and maybe have 8 or 9 balls, get 100 yards, maybe not get in the end zone, and still have a nice number.
I'm not even talking about DJ. I'm not talking about Chicago side. Chicago side, I know where he's going.
But other than St. Brown, I don't think anybody else from a price perspective, has to have 30 plus, and he can still get you 30 plus just on 15 catches.
But Detroit at his price points, if those guys don't get certain things, because I'm just
Gibbs is $7,000. Is he hitting 3x? Montgomery 6,500. Is he hitting 3x?
I think in this game it's kind of like we said, who's going to get the pepperonis? We know they can hit it. But do you have the game theory that says that, hey, he hits a big screen out the backfield for some kind of way he's able to get a goal line carry? That's why I don't like the backs as much. I would be more on Laporta or St. Brown.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think there's it's a little messy, right? It's not like Willie said. It's definitely some mess.
It's not clean, but that's where I think fantasy pay dirt is, in the things that aren't clean sometimes, not just in going back.
Some, Tribal Peace Sounds who asked if you got cheeks.
Got cheeks. Yeah, we got cheeks.
All right, let's get to Arizona against Houston. This is a fantasy goodness game. This is fantasy goodness, guys. This is Kyler, Stroud. Arizona plays tons of zone coverage. Stroud eats that up like for breakfast. Devin Singletary, there's nobody sharing time with him. Dalton Schultz has looked like an all-pro the last 4 weeks. Tank Dell, Nico Collins is back. Robert Woods is there on the other side. Hollywood Brown, Trey McBride, Kyler Murray, James Conner, Rondell Moore is cheap. Swame, what do I do in this game, dude? Because I love this game.
Well, the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and eliminate Mr. Robert Woods from your player pool. If I see that rascal, I'm tempted to bump into him, and only because Mr. Woods, we love you on the show. But it is absolutely no way that I would want him in that mix based on what he was doing. I think everybody else, based on price and opportunities, how we say this, and then Robert Woods shows up some kind of way and gets something. But anyway, so
I'm just telling you.
But this seems like one of those weeks where it's going to be a lot of back and forth. You got so many pieces in these games, so many different ways you could play it, as Doc like to say. I don't know if you talked about McBride a lot this week, Doc, but he's in a great spot. So I think it's almost no way you can go wrong in it. Is where you have the right pieces and the right kind of back and forth. And what I mean by that is I like McBride coming back, but you could also make a case for, say, Wilson, right? It just depending on, how you.
Let me ask you this, Swami, before we get to it, let me ask you this. Kyler or Stroud, who are you playing?
That's tough, but I think Mr. Stroud has to get the nod right now. But I like Kyler's price.
Singletary or Connor, who are you playing?
I think Singletary getting 30+ touches. Connor, he's probably going to get the edge over Connor as well.
Tank Dell or Hollywood Brown, who are you playing?
Oh, Tank Dell. Hollywood Brown's got some catching up to do.
All right, so the only Cardinal you're playing is that you're playing is McBride.
Yes, sir. And I think Murray would be then right behind McBride as far as no one playing.
Willie, what are you doing in this game? I know you like this game.
Yeah, I disagree. I'm going with Murray. I think everybody has seen Mr. Stroud, and I get it. He's balling, but Mr. Murray showed me something the other game too. And I just think that this game is back and forth. I think I'm gonna have shares of both quarterbacks. I mean, to be honest with you, I think you got to do it both ways.
So did you like the run-in from Murray, or was it?
I like them both. I just think that he's good. I mean, he showed me something, and McBride is my guy. I love McBride anyway. But I think you could. I think you could just do it both ways. I think you can include Singletary, not include him. You know what I mean? It's just different ways you need to stack this game. You got to look at Hollywood. Hollywood could have had a bigger game. He missed him. He missed him. He could have had 2 more touchdowns, but he just missed them. So
Willie, let me ask you this. Let's say we stack it both ways. Let's say we go Kyler, Hollywood, McBride. How many Texans are you coming back with? 1 or 2?
You can come back, man. I'm going to full stack this game. I could come back with 2 and do it on the other side. I'm just saying, but I just think you could do it this way because this game has so many possibilities. But the great thing about it is, unlike the Detroit, they're not overpriced. You know what I mean? You could go with anybody, and we can't forget about Nico too. He's just coming back off an injury. Everybody's talking about Dale. Not a lot of people mixing Nico. I mean, he's a baller too. This could be a game where he gets.
That's why I like, say, a Collins, Stroud, Singletary come back with McBride, and that way I feel like I'm getting, a couple of pieces that, and I'm stacking in a way where a lot of folks are looking maybe to go with a full stack. I'm just kind of taking those pieces and then not committing too much to this game, and I'm getting great price on them. So there's a couple ways you can go. I agree, but I think that's the one I like most.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it both ways. I'm gonna stack it different ways. I think this game has many facets and opportunities, and I'm gonna get a little corner because a lot of people are not gonna do that. And I think
Can you fade this game?
No.
No, sir.
I'm worried because I feel like I play 3 lineups, right? And I feel like this week I need to have 8 lineups because just in this game alone, I need 2, right? And maybe more, maybe even 4.
But the primary reason you can't fade it, it feels like because of the value on guys like Singletary and the matchup that he has, say the value and the matchup that Colin Murray has, the value in the matchup that, say, McBride. It's like you can't because of that combination of value and matchup.
But I can see me hitting this game wrong, right? Like it's the dart throw and I'm just off.
Absolutely, you can.
But I could see a situation where maybe you don't get the ceiling game from 3 receivers like we saw a couple of weeks ago. But I don't know if you can just completely miss this game. Not with the pieces.
14 points from Nico Collins is not taking down a tournament.
That is not, and that's why that week I was on the other side of it because I had Nico instead of maybe going just with Schultz and Dell.
Right, and that's what I'm worried about here. I'm worried that I'm going to have a lot of 13s and 12s and 13s and not 26s.
Listen, that could happen any week though. This is fantasy. We're just trying to get the best probabilities. I mean, but I just think that you cannot miss this game. But I agree, It could be any combination. It could be more that gets 2 touchdowns, and you're like, damn.
Right. All right, let's get to this next game, which I think is very sneaky. The Dolphins against the Raiders. Why are the Dolphins sneaky? Nobody wants to pay up for it. Nobody wants to pay up for Tua. Nobody wants to pay $9,300 for Tyreek. Nobody wants to pay a fortune for Chan because they don't know whether or not he's back. All the dude needs is 2 carries and he's going to get 2 touchdowns. And on the Raiders side, Josh Jacobs only gets about 1 million carries, and Devontae Adams is still there. So, Willie, can we be in this game, or does this game feel like? And by the way, before you say anything, the Dolphins' implied total is 30. 30. That is a big number. Talk to me, Willie. What are we doing?
You could play pieces in this game, but I tell you what, you mentioned something about Devontae Adams. No way. That rascal will not be in one.
That's a big finger.
I'd be like Matumbo. No. You're not in my lineup. You're not in one lineup. Hell no, I ain't playing Devontae Adams. Let me tell you something. You better go to the books. The Raiders have been getting away with larceny. Miami's going to run them out of this ballpark. If the line is 11 points, take it. They will beat these rascals by 20 or more points. This is going to be a slobber knocker, a brewski. It's going to be over. I'm telling you. Tyreek Hill is in play. I think they're going to beat him down, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm an A-chain guy. But I think it's his first game back. I'm playing him in season long. I got to. But I just think with Wilson, A-Chain, Moser, his first game back, I think, one guy might get 12 carries, one might get 11. I just think at the price points, I just rather go with guys that I know is going to get more of a concentrated thing.
Well, right. I mean, that's the point, Swame. We know that these guys are expensive. But if Willie just said that this game is going to be over by halftime, which it probably could be, isn't that because Tua threw for 3 touchdowns and 280 yards by halftime, and 2 of those were to Tyreek Hill, and a Chan ran one in from like 52 yards, and all of a sudden now you're sitting there and you got yourself about, 80 to 120 fantasy points from 3 dudes?
Doc, you might be a little bit more divided on this than I am. I say divided because I see you got some loyalties now with the Miami Dolphins.
Just this week.
Understood. But I think I would be more concerned with this game than I would be the other games from a price perspective. And the reason I say that is because all of these guys are priced up. And we really don't know if the A train is going to get the touchdowns, if Mostert's going to get them, if Hill's going to get them. And you have to get these guys right. I think the 14 from here is far worse than it would be 14 from, say, the other guy.
Right.
And you could easily find yourself with the 14, depending on where the touchdowns go. And don't let one of these, other players or a tight end get involved. And now you are really, as they say, got cheeks. So I don't know if I want to go that route. I'm not mad at picking a piece. Right now, my favorite piece, if you would ask me, is Mostert. I see that, it seems like every algorithm on the planet likes Hill, but I think Mostert would be my favorite player this week, because I don't think they can stop them at all. I don't even know if they can slow the way the Dolphins run the ball. I just don't know if the Raiders could even slow them down, and I think it's going to be some big plays.
I want to like Tyreek Hill, but at 9,300, I don't think you're wrong. But they cannot stop the run. I mean, I would honestly tell you that playing Mostert and Achane might be smart, like Warren and Harris last week, because you could be looking at 230 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, and that's going to be as good as anything that you can find on this slate. I don't think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in this game. All right. Commanders and Giants, Willie. It's your Commanders. Giants play a lot of man-to-man defense, a lot of man coverage. There was nobody more cheeky last week than Terry McLaurin. Guy's middle name was Cheeks. Can he break open a big play? Brian Robinson. There's no Antonio Gibson this week. Giants kind of stink. Are the Commanders in play?
Yeah, listen. What I tell you about who has more passing yards than anybody in the NFL?
Mr. Sam Howell.
Mr. Howell. He is definitely in play this week.
It's like an NBA team, Doc. You
I
got
know.
one guy who's making 50 points. They're not
stop being
winning.
stingy. Whoa. Okay. Now, so listen, it's time for Mr. McLaurin to get a little something in this game. I think it's in play. I think. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all told me this in preseason. I wasn't listening, but I do like Mr. Howell. Mr. Howell has showed me something. The thing that I like about that he's doing, he's not taking the sacks that he took early in the year. You know, he was getting sacked all the time. He's getting rid of the ball early. He's making good decisions. He's just not. He used to fidget and used to run if nothing was open. He's waiting now. And I'm gonna tell you, I love the way he's playing. And McLaurin would be the guy that, you know, if I had to go with anybody for the Commanders, I'm interested in McLaurin. And Mr. Robinson is definitely in play this game. You know, so it's not only McLaurin, the running back is in play. You know, he's 5,800. You got Gibson, who's been my guy lately, who I've been playing sneakily. He's out. So now you got somebody that's going to get all the passing and the receiving yards. So I think he is in play, you know, for this slate, he's in play. You know, so I just think that, but if I'm going to go to anybody, I'm going to go to Mr. McLaurin this game because he's due. And I think he has the best matchup in the world going against these Giants. These Giants are horrible. You saw what Lamb did to them last week. I think, you know, 3 touchdowns, at least 3 to 4 touchdowns is in play for Mr. Howell this week.
You saw me. Adoree Jackson is out. All right, so that's been confirmed. Let me ask you this about Brian Robinson. I know Willie said he's in play, and he's in play. But the Giants held Tony Pollard to 55 yards last week on 15 carries. If Robinson, once again, I'm going to go back to, I don't want 13 points from Robinson. I want 20 from my running back. If I'm not getting 20, I'm not taking down the tournament. Can Robinson get me 20?
I think Robinson can get you 20, especially in the game against the Giants. The only concern that you would have in this game is kind of the pace. You know, the Giants are probably going to try to lean on Barkley. They're going to slow the game down a little bit. I think that's probably in their best interest. And I don't, you know, typically I like the Commanders when they're in a game where the pace is going to be a little bit more, you know, to our liking. It's going to be a lot higher and back and forth and more possessions. I think this game will probably have, you know, the Commanders having maybe a few longer drives than the Giants, but I don't know if it's going to be, you know, fantasy goodness. This feels more like one of those, we talked about it before, that 16 the 6 kind of feel to it. But I do like Robinson. I do like McLaurin. I think what Walls was saying was on. I just don't like the total for this game.
All right, let's get to a game that I think may be a little sneaky. Chargers and Green Bay. I think it's a little sneaky because the Chargers are not good. I don't care what anybody tells me. The Chargers defense is overrated. They let up a ton of big plays. Jordan Love is trying to make big plays. Christian Watson can make a play, even though he hasn't made one this year. And I love this kid, Jaden Reed, a little bit. I do. On the other side, Austin Eckler is due. Keenan Allen has been magical. Willie Walls, do you buy anything I'm saying here, or are you just like, no?
Man, it's something about this Green Bay quarterback I cannot get with. Listen, I agree they are in play, Doc, but guess what? They got to beat me. These expensive assholes got to beat me. Listen, this quarterback he's so bad. You look at the film in this guy, he's bad. Don't say nothing about Christian Watson to me. Not one word.
What happens if he scores a touchdown this week? What if he goes 4 for 97 and a touchdown?
Fifth, we all be drunk. Matter of fact, in our league with me and Swame, I say, you know what? Enough! You out of here! He ain't even catch the plane ride home. That get that back hurting rascal. Anybody that wants to pick him up, pick him up.
Doc, he put his money where his mouth is. He cut Christian Watson this week. He had enough. So I believe him. He has the conviction to go with the courage. But I'll say this, Doc. I feel a little bit differently. I do from a I would say from a football fan perspective, I agree with Willie. From a DFS perspective, I just keep going back and just keep saying that, hey, they got a matchup. Let me just play what I see and not overthink it. But I've sang the song of Give Me Love, Love, Crazy Love. And the only person who's been crazy, Doc, has been me for playing that joker. I tell you what, I got new songs now. No love, no love, no more. Anyway, Doc, but I digress. For the folks out there, especially for the Packers fans that I know are going to take a shot, I still don't think it's a bad shot to have a Love, Musgrave, Watson, or Love, Watson, Jones, and then coming back with somebody this game. It's still a viable stack, even though we've been disappointed quite a bit.
I think I'm looking at like Eckler Watson, Eckler Reed, Allen Reed, something like that, like a correlation play. I don't want Jordan Love. Look, I have a rule. Don't play guys who suck. It's a rule. He sucks. And I don't want my hard-earned money to go on Jordan Love. You know what I'm saying? Money's hard to come by.
Like I said, I cut Christian Watson. Cut him.
You know it means he's scoring this week, brother. You know that, right?
And he's going to score this week. I know. That's how it works.
All right, let's get to Tennessee against Jacksonville. We don't have to spend a ton of time here, but I will say that Tyson Campbell, Jacksonville's cornerback, is out. He is their best cover cornerback. Does that make Hopkins relevant? Derrick Henry's practically $6,300. Is there anything, Swame, that excites you in this game?
Derrick Henry's price is exciting. I think that's exciting to see him at that price because it's still King Henry. And I think at some point they've gotten past maybe some of whatever the concerns were, this trade deadline stuff and all of that. And now it's back to maybe playing some football. So maybe he'll get the ball this week. The other side, my favorite play is probably Kirk. But I'm gonna be a goofball and I'm gonna go back with Ridley again because I've been on the train too long now to get off. 3 feet from goal. So I think King Henry and Kirk is who I would recommend, but I think I'm gonna take a shot with Ridley.
What about you, Willie? I mean, Ridley is due. There are a lot of guys this week. McLaurin is due. Ridley is due. Pollard is due. There's a lot of guys who are sitting in the hospital.
Watson,
Watson.
I would say you left out a due on the other part. Really is due. Okay, that's what he is. This rascal, and I got him in a couple of leagues, but guess what he's going to be? Stay on that bench. You are not getting off this week. You won't be taking my team, you bastard. He will not be played. Do not mention him. Ridley. 1 point Ridley. No, thank you.
Could you imagine Willie was your coach and he yelled at you like that?
And another thing, that quarterback who I got in 3 leagues, who I was close to cutting too. No, thank you. Pass.
Doc, let me add because he said that, and I mentioned Ridley and Kirk, that I think Lawrence would be an interesting GPP play.
I agree. When the week started, my first inclination, I don't know where Swami said Lawrence and they cut him off. Who knew? Hopefully we'll get him back in a second. My first inclination was Trevor Lawrence. I like Lawrence too. I did. And Jordan Love. I'm like, I'm with you, Willie. When a guy sucked last week, I like them more the next week.
Yeah, I know, but I Ridley's just, man, it's just something about Ridley that I love. Kirk is my favorite play from this team. I do think if Herbert can't do, like if Herbie, he can't do it, if Lawrence can't do it in this game, I mean, Lawrence, he's one of the most disappointing rascals I've had for fantasy, and 2 touchdowns is not going to be enough.
No.
We need 4. And this 2 touchdowns, on 205 yards.
2 is not enough, right?
It's not enough.
No.
Not on this slate.
All right, let's get to Tampa and San Francisco. Here's my problem in this game, okay? I love Brock Purdy this week. I love him. But Tampa mixes their coverages up. When they play zone, it's Debo. When they play man, it's Ayuk. McCaffrey is going to cost me a small fortune. Kittle's always in play. I feel like I should go naked Brock Purdy, but I'm not going to win a tournament if I go naked Brock Purdy, Swami. And then on the other side, I don't love Mike Evans, who drops a lot of passes. I like Rachaad White, but it doesn't feel like a Rachaad White week. How do I play this game the right way? Can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
All right, he's gonna go out. Oh, all right, let's get to you. How are you going to play this game, Willie Walls?
Listen, I honestly think Purdy is in play. I think Tampa plays mostly zone. I know they mix up the coverages, but they play mostly zone. When you play zone, I mean, the guy that I like is Debo. This will be the guy that I like in this game. You know, his price is right. You know, 6,300. I will play Debo in this game. I think, and I love Purdy because, you know, when they got that big monster in that middle, you know, Tampa Bay, you know that big rascal. He ain't running against this team like that. So I think.
So is McCaffrey in play because he's going to catch passes, or is he out of play because he's not going to get enough?
For that price point, Doc, you got to be able to get through the land by running and by and in the air. You understand what I'm saying? I can't pay that price for the running back, and I think you're going to be most effective through the air. You know what I mean?
So what if he goes like 8 for 80 in the air and he runs for another 50?
That's not going to be
21.
Yeah, I know that's what you want, but I don't think that's really enough unless he has one of those selfish games where he gets 4 TDs. Then you know you needed to play him. You know what I mean? But
right. Is he the gotta have it guy? Is he the nuclear guy?
Who you talking about? McCaffrey? Yeah, I mean he is. I mean he's not the guy to have. I might have 1 or 2 shares. If I got 20 lineups, I have him in 2. Just because I know he's capable, and you got the best play caller in the league playing.
Right.
And the key thing that we found out last week is they were missing that big fella, that big tackle. When he plays, they are a total different team. And I'm gonna tell you, defensively, man, I tell you that the play that they made defensively by getting the Commanders, yes. I mean, you saw the difference that it made on that other end.
Totally different. Totally. I mean, they were coming like this. Baker Mayfield's going to feel pressure. I don't like Mike Evans because Mike Evans needs to get time down the field. Baker's not going to have enough time.
He's not.
So I see Rachaad White getting some quick passes. Maybe Godwin getting a quick pass, but I don't know if I see Evans in this game.
And I don't think it's enough. You know what I mean? I don't think it's enough. I think it's I just don't think it's enough. So
let's get to the Jets in Buffalo. Jets in Buffalo. I have zero interest in Gabe Davis. I do like Dalton Kincaid a little bit. I do like Stephon Diggs a little bit. Jets play some man. Stephon Diggs kills man to man. On the Jets side, I can see Breece Hall. I can see Tyler Conklin maybe because the Bills are a little sketchy against tight ends, and Conklin's like less than 3,000. Or I could just not even play anybody in this game.
I mean, my 2 favorite plays in this game is Hall and Kincaid. I mean, I respect the Jets defense. They're good. Listen, if the quarterback wasn't,
will you play the Jets defense?
I haven't been season long, but what are they? Are they 20? Are they 2,600? What is their price?
They're like 2,700. Let me see. They're cheap.
Yeah.
The Jets are 2,600. I mean, who's your defense this week?
Like on FanDuel, it's the Niners at 4,000. That's a misprice. On FanDuel,
that's criminal. That's criminal. What are you doing on DraftKings?
Yeah, man, I think what I'm gonna be honest with you. I do think the Jets are very interesting because one thing that I've noticed about Buffalo this year, Allen makes a lot of mistakes.
He does.
He makes a lot of mistakes. And this team right here, if you make a mistake, they will take advantage of you. Plus the pass rush. Listen, this, I don't know if you remember this team, Doc. back in the early 90s, when the Redskins were the Redskins, you had a team that lost Cunningham in that year, and they didn't have a quarterback, just like Rodgers. And that defense with Reggie White, they were fierce. You know what I mean? You didn't want to play them. You did not want to play this team. That's what we got in the Jets here. They're fierce.
Well, look, if the Jets get two sacks, one pick, and one fumble, they're 4X, right? I mean, if the Jets put up 8, they're totally worth it, right? Is there a defense this week? Is it like Cleveland? Is it Pittsburgh? Is it Dallas? Is there a defense that's going to kill me if I don't have them?
No.
Okay.
And I just think that I think that you're talking me into the Jets. I probably have the Jets in a lot of my lineups because they're capable of holding down. And Allen's going to make some mistakes. Right. That's one thing you see from him this year that he showed me that, man, he makes mistakes, and all that firing that coordinator is done, but just you trying to mask a bad deodorant that's coming from Mr. Allen for not doing the right thing.
Let me get to one more game, Willie, and I think this game is really sneaky. The Seahawks Rams.
I think I got interest in this game.
I do too. So here's where I'm with it. If Matthew Stafford stays healthy,
yes,
I could see a Stafford Cup Nakua blowout. And then you bring back, I don't think I'm bringing back Metcalf. Maybe I'm bringing back JSN. Maybe I'm bringing back even like a Jake Bobo if Tyler Lockett is out. Maybe I'm bringing back Noah Fant because they can't stop a tight end to save their life. I think this is a sneaky game here.
Hey, so is Lockett? Is he going to be out?
He's questionable. He's questionable. He ran a little bit on Friday, a little bit.
Because JSN would be the guy that I'd be real interested in. But the guy that I'm interested in on the other side is, what does Seattle play?
Zone.
Who zones up? Nuka. This is a Nuka type of game. You know what I mean? So nobody's talking about Staff. If he's healthy, I think this game, you're forgetting about it, but this game has some sneakiness in it.
What about Cup?
He's what, 8,100 as price went down?
Could you double stack? Could you go Stafford, Cup, and Nakua?
That's kind of expensive, but you can do it. And I mean that's.
So you like a one-off more?
Yeah, I just gotta play. I can't play both. I think that it's too expensive on this slate to play both. But the guy that I'm more interested in, because everybody's gonna think about his price point. I think Nakua is the guy that I'm interested in this game. This is a Nakua game.
It is. I like him a lot. All right. Give me the stack. Which is your stack? Is it the Houston game? Is it Arizona? Who's the $100? You're putting it down. Who's your stack?
It's gonna be the Houston game. I mean, that because of the price point. I think it's a Houston game, but I think I got a different. I think I got a different stack for you. I think you could play. You could play Murray. You could play Rondell Moore. And and then you could play McBride, and you could bring it back. You could bring it back with Dale, or it'll be interesting if you bring it back with Singletary. So I just think it's different ways that you could play this. Hold up, let me say this way. Hey, I'm up. I'm finishing up the podcast. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it's my coworker calling to make sure I'm up before I got
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's funny, I like Puka. Trevor likes Rondell Moore a lot. He got 8 targets last week. 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sneaky.
At 3,300, it could be this type of game. So the more I thought about it, I said, you know what? Rondell Moore is an interesting guy because he always liked him. So playing him and maybe playing Dale, but I just think it's just ways you can go. Or you could look, Doc, I'm just telling you, I just think in this lineup, if I'm everybody, I will have 4 or 5 different variations. Because this thing, like I agree with you, it could go any way.
Anyway, I mean, right. Anyway,
one way. One way is not going to get. I'm telling you, you need to play this different ways.
Okay, I've got a stack I'm going to give you, and I want to give a little credit to Alicia Hunt, who put me on to this guy as well. I like the Miami stack a little bit, and I'm going to bring it back with Michael Mayer. Dolphins can't cover a tight end to save their life. They're going to be throwing in the second half, the Raiders. What if I told you Michael Mayer, 2,700, goes 5 for 60 and catches a late touchdown? You're through the roof at this point. I'm not saying I love it, but if Tyreek and Achane go off, that game could go off.
I will commit one lineup to it, right. And if it hits, it hits because Tyreek is showing. But so it could go, and that's an interesting way of looking at it. And
I think, you know what? I agree with you. That's a $10 single entry lineup. You put it in there. If you win, you take down the tournament. But I'm not putting in my family fortune on that one.
No, you can't, because if you do, you're going to be broke. Right. Because they're expensive.
Balls to the walls call from Willie Walls. What are we doing, my man?
Hey, Rondell Moore, 3,300. I like him. That's going to be the little sneaky guy this week, because I think you can run them. They do a lot of sweeps. They do a lot of different variations. I think he's very interesting in this game.
Well, do you want my visionary play of the week? Are you ready for it? Are you sitting
down?
Yep. Christian Watson gonna score.
Yeah, man, I would be so tilted because I cut that rascal. But Doc, enough was enough, and I like what you're saying. But this dude right here, man, I never seen somebody who's so injured, back, leg, whatever.
Terrible. Or I do like Jayden Reed. I do like Jayden Reed.
That's the guy that I got. That's who I picked up and dropped him. I said, you know what? I had enough of you. Let me get this dude right here. I know he can stay healthy, But
there's so many guys this week, Willie. I'm so with you. Pollard, McLaurin, Watson. These guys haven't exploded yet, and they're due. They are due.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. And I think Pollard's, Doc, I got to go with this dude, man. I mean, because everybody, because the way Swame talked about him, that's what gets me on it. Because I'm like, you know what? If he's feeling that way, because he was with me last week, he had a lot of him, and he brought some of my lineups down. You know what I mean? That's why we got to go back to him, because you're going to be mad. Yeah. If he had 3 touchdowns, you're going to be so upset, especially at that price point.
Right. No, I'm playing him. I'm playing him. He's going to be in 80% of my lineups.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. He is 80-90 for me. I'm in there, and I hate. I throw up when I'm putting in line, but I think he's worth it, though. I think he's worth
it. All right, man. Hey, if I don't speak to you, have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, Doc, to you and your family, man. Be blessed. Listen, everybody, happy Thanksgiving to you. Listen, do not take this for granted. It's a blessing, and this is from both of us who lost a parent last year. It's a blessing that you be with your families, enjoy them, love them, give them the time, because, nothing is
you never know. Okay?
You never know. You never know.
All right, for Doc, Willie, and the invisible Swame, what do we say? Be well and
take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.